caught my husband with my sister. Now they're both crying. I never thought this would be my life. You hear about it happening to other people. Stories on the internet, dramatic TV shows, gossip that spreads like wildfire, but you never think it's going to happen to you. You never think the two people you trust the most will be the ones to betray you. But here we are. I've been married to Adam for 5 years, together for 8. I thought we were happy. Of course, no marriage is perfect, but I believed we had something real. We laughed, we traveled, we supported each other. I thought he was my partner, my best friend, the person I could always count on. And my sister, Emma, she was my closest confidant, my childhood best friend, the one who knew all my secrets, the one I told everything to, the one I would have done anything for. She was there on my wedding day, standing beside me, promising she would always have my back. Turns out I should have been protecting myself, because last night I walked in and found them together. Not whispering in the kitchen, not sending secret text messages, I found them in my house, in my bed. I wasn't even supposed to be home. I had planned to stay late at work to finish up a project, but I got a headache halfway through the day and decided to head home early. I thought it would be a nice surprise. Maybe Adam and I would have dinner together, maybe we'd watch a movie, just a quiet night at home. Instead, I walked through the door and straight into my worst nightmare. The bedroom door was slightly open. At first, I wasn't even thinking anything of it. I was just going through my usual routine, putting my keys down, taking off my shoes, setting my bag on the counter. But then I heard something. Voices, laughter. Something felt wrong. I stepped toward the bedroom, and before I even touched the door, I saw movement inside. The sheets shifting. A hand, not mine, not Adam's. And then I saw them. My husband, my sister. I froze. For a second, my brain refused to process what I was looking at. My body felt disconnected from reality, like I was standing outside of myself, watching a scene unfold in someone else's life. Then, finally, I spoke. What? What is this? That was all it took for panic to set in. Adam nearly fell out of bed, scrambling for an excuse. Emma pulled the covers up like that would somehow fix the situation. Her face was pale, eyes wide, mouth opening and closing as she searched for something, anything, to say. I just stood there. Adam was the first to speak. This isn't what it looks like. I let out a breath, my entire body cold. It looks like you're in bed with my sister. He opened his mouth, then shut it again. Emma sat up, clutching the blanket to her chest. Please, let me explain. Explain what? That this was a misunderstanding? That it wasn't really happening? That she had just accidentally ended up in my home, in my bedroom, with my husband? I didn't even feel angry at first, just numb, like my body had shut down every emotion except shock. Adam tried again. It was a mistake. I turned to look at him. A mistake? Emma nodded quickly, grabbing onto whatever excuse she could find. It didn't mean anything. I repeated the words in my head. Didn't mean anything. My marriage, my trust, my entire life as I knew it. They threw all of that away, but it didn't mean anything. I could feel my hands trembling, but my voice came out steady. So you've been sneaking around behind my back for nothing? Emma's eyes darted to Adam, like she was trying to figure out what to say, and that was all the confirmation I needed. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. This wasn't some split-second mistake. This was an affair, a long one. And the worst part, the part that made my stomach turn, they looked guilty. They looked caught. But they didn't look sorry, not for me, not for what they did. They were just sorry they had been found out. That's when the numbness faded, and the realization hit me full force. I let out a breath. Then I laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do. You two deserve each other, I said, stepping back toward the door. Adam took a step forward. Wait, let's talk about this. No, I pointed at him. Don't come near me. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Please don't tell Mom and Dad. I turned around and walked out the door. Because they didn't get to ask me for anything, not after this. I grabbed my purse and keys, left the house, and drove without a destination. I just needed to get away, to breathe, to think. But the longer I drove, the angrier I got. They expected me to keep this quiet? To just accept this and let them move on with their lives like nothing happened? No. That wasn't happening. I pulled over, took out my phone, and started typing a group text to my parents and my other siblings. Hey everyone, just letting you know, Adam and Emma have been having an affair. I caught them together in my house tonight. Just wanted to tell you myself before they try to make up some story. Then I hit send. And just like that, everything changed. My phone started blowing up within minutes. First my mom called, then my dad, then my younger brother. The group chat was a mess of missed calls, shocked messages, and pure chaos. Mom: "What? Please tell me this is some kind of misunderstanding." Dad: "You need to call me now." Brother: "Are you serious? Emma wouldn't do that, right?" I just sat in my car, watching the notifications pile up. I wasn't ready to talk yet. Not to them. Not to anyone. Then Adam called. I ignored it. Then Emma. Ignored that too. They didn't deserve a response, not after what they had done. A few minutes later, a message from Emma popped up. "Please, don't do this. Let's talk." Talk? What was there to talk about? What excuse could she possibly have? What could she say that would undo the fact that she had been sleeping with my husband behind my back for who knows how long? I threw my phone onto the passenger seat and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel, trying to process everything. I should have gone to a friend's house, a hotel, anywhere but back home. But I wasn't thinking straight. I felt like I was on autopilot when I pulled back into my driveway, and that's when I saw her. Emma, sitting on my porch, arms wrapped around herself, eyes red and puffy. She had clearly been crying. But I didn't feel bad for her. I parked the car and just stared at her through the windshield. She noticed me and stood up quickly, taking a few hesitant steps toward the car. I didn't get out right away. I took a deep breath, trying to push down the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me. The betrayal, the humiliation, the sheer disbelief that my own sister could do something like this to me. Finally, I stepped out and shut the door behind me. She opened her mouth, but I held up a hand. "Don't." She flinched. "Please, just let me explain." I crossed my arms. Explain what? Her lips parted, but she hesitated, like she hadn't actually thought about what she was going to say, like she had expected me to comfort her. I waited. She wiped at her eyes. "I never meant for this to happen," I exhaled slowly. "That's what you texted me, and it's just as meaningless now as it was then." She shook her head. "I swear, I didn't plan this. If you say it just happened." I'm walking inside and locking the door. Her mouth snapped shut. She looked at me like she was searching for mercy, like I was supposed to feel bad for her, but I didn't. She did this. She made the choice, over and over again. "How long?" I asked. She looked down at the ground. 6 months. I let out a short, humorous laugh. 6 months? She nodded, biting her lip like she was afraid of my reaction. "I told you everything, Emma," I said. "Every little detail about my life, my marriage. I trusted you." Her voice cracked. "I know." I took a step forward. "I cried on your shoulder when Adam and I were having problems." My voice was shaking now. "I told you my fears, my doubts, and the whole time you were—" I couldn't even finish the sentence. The anger burned too hot in my chest. She was sobbing now. "I'm so sorry." I clenched my jaw. "No, you're not." "I am." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away so fast that she actually gasped. "You don't get to apologize now," I said. "Not when you spent half a year sneaking around behind my back. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it in the first place." She looked desperate now. "Please, just don't let this ruin our family." That made me laugh. A real bitter laugh. "Oh, so now you care about the family?" I gestured toward the house. "Did you think about that when you were sleeping with my husband? Did you care about me?" She didn't answer. I shook my head. "You're unbelievable!" She wiped at her face again, but I was done with the tears. Done with her. "I want you to leave," I said, "and I don't want to see you again." Her face crumpled. "Please don't say that." I stepped around her, walked up the porch, and opened the door. Before stepping inside, I turned to look at her one last time. "You made this choice, Emma. Now live with it." Then I shut the door in her face. The house felt like a ghost of my past life. I had spent years building a future with Adam, trusting Emma, believing I had the kind of support system people dream about. But now, every memory felt tainted. I couldn't stay here. I grabbed my suitcase and started packing. Clothes, essentials, anything I'd need for the next few weeks. I had no idea where I was going, but I knew I couldn't sleep under this roof another night. Halfway through stuffing things into my bag, my phone buzzed. Another message from Emma. "Please, don't do this. We're family." Family. I stared at the word for a long time. What did family even mean after this? Because to me, family doesn't do this. I put my phone down without responding. As I zipped up my suitcase, a knock sounded at the door. I didn't move right away. Part of me hoped it was just a neighbor or a delivery by mistake, but deep down I knew better. When I finally opened the door, Adam was standing there. He looked like a wreck. Messy hair, dark circles under his eyes, his shirt wrinkled like he had slept in it. If I hadn't known better, I might have thought he was the one who had been betrayed. I didn't invite him in. He hesitated before speaking. Can we talk? I folded my arms. Why? His gaze darted past me, toward the packed suitcase sitting in the hallway. Are you leaving? Yes. His expression twisted, like he wanted to argue but couldn't find the words. Where are you going? I almost laughed at that, like you have the right to ask. He ran a hand down his face. I know you hate me. That's an understatement. I need to explain. No, I said. You don't. His mouth snapped shut. I stepped forward, making it clear I wasn't going to stand there all night listening to him fumble through excuses. You made your choice, so did she. You don't get to stand here and act like this was just a mistake. It wasn't like that. I tilted my head. Oh, so explain it to me then. Walk me through how you accidentally started sneaking around with my sister for 6 months. He shifted his weight, looking down. I don't have an excuse. At least he was honest. But that didn't change anything. He looked up again, eyes pleading. I still love you. A long silence stretched between us. Then I said, I don't love you anymore. Something in his face crumbled. I could tell he had been holding on to some hope that I might be angry enough to yell, sad enough to cry, but not done enough to walk away completely. I took a slow breath. You don't deserve my love, not after this. I was selfish, he said quickly, almost desperately. I was stupid. You were cruel. That stopped him. I need you to hear that, I continued, voice steady. You weren't just careless. You weren't just selfish. You were cruel. You knew what this would do to me. You knew how much I loved you. You knew how much I trusted her, and you still did it. His breathing was uneven now. I shook my head. I won't let you make this my problem. I'm done carrying the guilt for other people's choices. Can't we try? He asked, voice quieter now. No, I said simply. His shoulders sagged. So, this is it? This was it the second you betrayed me, I said. You just didn't realize it yet. I stepped back, shutting the door before he could say anything else. For the first time in days, I felt at peace. The house was quiet when I got home. Too quiet. For a long time I just stood in the doorway staring at the space that used to feel warm and safe. Now it felt empty. Every piece of furniture, every framed photo on the wall, every little thing that made this place ours, it all felt like a lie. I wasn't sure how long I stood there before I started moving. I grabbed a suitcase from the closet, yanked open the dresser drawers, and started packing. I could have kicked Adam out instead. This was my house just as much as it was his. But I didn't want to stay here, surrounded by reminders of the life I thought I had. I wanted distance. Halfway through packing, my phone buzzed. Another message from Emma. Please don't do this. We're family. As if she hadn't been the one to destroy our family in the first place. I didn't respond. Instead, I went back to packing. I would figure out where to go later. A hotel, a friend's place, anywhere but here. I was zipping up my suitcase when I heard a knock on the front door. I almost ignored it, but something told me it wasn't Adam this time. When I opened the door, I was right. My parents were standing there. My mom's eyes were red, like she had been crying. My dad's face was tight with barely contained anger. Neither of them said anything right away. They just looked at me, like they weren't sure how to start. I wasn't in the mood for a drawn-out conversation. If you're here to tell me to forgive them, don't bother. My dad shook his head. We're not. That caught me off guard. We talked to Emma, my mom said quietly. She admitted everything. I waited. She begged us not to take sides, my dad added. But we're not neutral in this. What she did was disgusting. And Adam, he exhaled sharply. I can't believe I ever thought that man was good enough for you. My throat tightened. So what now? My mom reached for my hand. You don't have to go through this alone. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt something other than anger and betrayal. Relief. I didn't have to fix this. I didn't have to force myself to be okay. I had people who actually loved me, who weren't asking me to sweep this under the rug. I stepped back and gestured to my half-packed suitcase. I was about to leave. My dad nodded. Good. You shouldn't have to stay in this house. Come home. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Then I grabbed my bag, shut the door behind me, and walked away from the life I thought I had. And I didn't look back. The next few days were a blur. I stayed at my parents' house, sleeping in my childhood bedroom like I was a teenager again. My mom fussed over me, making sure I ate, checking in every few hours. Like she was afraid I'd break apart if she stopped. My dad was quieter, but I could tell he was furious, not just at Emma, but at himself, for ever thinking Adam was a good husband to me. I felt numb. The betrayal was still too much to process. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Every time I looked at my phone, I expected another message, another attempt to justify what they had done. I wasn't ready to deal with it, but I didn't have a choice. On the third day, Adam showed up. My dad answered the door before I could. I heard voices, his, low and desperate, my dad's, firm and unyielding. Then my dad called for me. I could have refused. I could have told him to send Adam away, but part of me wanted to hear what he had to say, so I walked to the door. Adam looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot, like he hadn't slept since I left. He opened his mouth, but I spoke first. "What do you want?" "I just need to talk to you." My dad stood there, arms crossed, watching him like a hawk. Adam glanced at him, then back at me. Alone. I shook my head. "Anything you have to say, you can say right here." His hands clenched at his sides. I messed up. That was putting it lightly. I was selfish. I was stupid. And I don't expect you to forgive me, but I can't let this end without trying to make things right. I studied his face. Make things right? Yes, he said quickly. I'll do anything. Therapy, moving away, whatever it takes. I almost laughed. He was still clinging to the idea that this could be fixed. It's too late for that. His breath hitched. Please, just no. That one word shut him down. His whole body deflated. He looked lost, like he was finally realizing that there was no way out of this. I didn't give him a chance to say anything else. "You made your choice, Adam. Now live with it." Then I stepped back and closed the door in his face. Emma tried a few more times. She sent messages, left voicemails, even showed up at my parents' house once. I never answered. I wasn't going to give her closure. She and Adam had taken enough from me. Weeks passed, then months. I filed for divorce, cut all contact, and slowly started rebuilding my life. Emma moved away, not far, but far enough that she didn't have to face the consequences of what she'd done. My parents didn't cut her off completely, but they didn't excuse her either. The family wasn't the same after that. I grieved it for a while, but eventually I realized something. Losing them wasn't the tragedy I thought it was. It was freedom, and I was finally ready to move forward.